What's up, Vape fam? Welcome to Vapenview and the SUBOHM Scoop. And today's guest that we have on the show is Miss Kimmy Vapes, a superstar on Instagram, a great and wonderful reviewer on YouTube, just an overall beacon of light for the vaping community. So without wasting too much time, let's get to the interview. What's up, Miss Kimmy Vapes? How are you today?
Hello, I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
I'm just ecstatic to have you here because I know your story will help inspire and change lives. It just brings me a lot of joy to have you on the show. First off, what are you vaping on today? Because I know everybody wants to know.
All right. Okay, well today I am vaping on the QIU 200 watt mod by Sandstone. That's a new one that I just did. I got the drop RDA and all stainless steel on the top. In that, I'm vaping some Twinkle Clouds by TGS Cloud Juice. Really good. It's actually a Twinkie. So if you're trying to cut calories and you want your Twinkies, you can have them in e-liquid. And then I'm also vaping on the Minikin V2 with an all black drop RDA. And in that, I'm actually vaping some of my own DIY custard pound cake e-liquid.
So 2 drops, huh?
Yeah, I'm a bit of a drop fanatic. It's really good. It's really good for on the go because it's got a really deep juice well. I used to never drip and drive because there's nothing worse. You feel like you're trying to deconstruct a bomb when you're trying to drip and drive. And because it holds so much e-liquid, I can vape on it a long time in between dripping. So it's kind of become my dripper of choice now.
That's how I am with the mesh RDA, just because you put it in a squonk mold, throw it on a squonker, and it holds so much cotton that you can just hit the squonker and it's like drains the whole bottle in there, and then next thing you know, you ain't got a squonker or anything for like 10, 20 minutes, and it's like I can get anywhere I need to go. So I definitely understand that. Okay, now that that's out of the way, can we get a little bit more personal?
Okay.
Most of us have it marked on the calendar the last day you smoked a cigarette. When was the last day you smoked a cigarette? How long has it been?
Oh gosh, so long ago. Last day I smoked a cigarette would have been in March of 2015. So just coming up on my 3-year anniversary is the last time I had a cigarette. I can't tell you the exact day because I'm bad with dates. I know it was in March though because it was still chilly.
Real quick, when you think back to the moment, that moment that you realized that you were no longer a smoker, how did that make you feel?
Felt awesome. It's funny, actually, I can remember the time too. Went out with some friends to a bar, and anybody that's a former smoker knows when you have alcohol, you got to have a cigarette. And we were sitting outside on the bar's patio, and everybody was lighting up cigarettes. And I reached into my purse just out of instinct for a pack of cigarettes, even though my vape was on the table. And I caught myself and I realized I'm not chained to that anymore. I don't have to, go digging for my cigarettes. I'm a vapor now. I'm really a vapor because I'm not smoking. I'm drinking alcohol. And that's usually like when people want to have a cigarette, is when they're drinking alcohol.
That's one of the things that I hear most often when people say, that's the only time I slip up is when I'm smoking or when I'm drinking. I want a cigarette. And that's when most people fail in their task to quit. Even though they've been vaping for a while, they start drinking, and the first thing they do is light up a cigarette and start smoking. And one of the biggest pieces of advice that I give to a lot of people, quit drinking for a while. If you find that is one of your challenges, just go a little bit of time without drinking, because you got to get to that stability point where you know that you are no longer a smoker and that it's not going to bother you. I went a whole year without drinking. I didn't drink nothing for 1 whole year because I was scared that I was going to start smoking again. And I was like, I can't. I just can't. So how did you find out about vaping? Everybody has a story, something that it was some crazy moment that you was in, and next thing you know, somebody told you about vaping and you were like, wow, this is amazing.
Yeah, actually, my story of vaping is more of like out of necessity for nicotine. We were going to go see family out of town. We had to rent a car. and we couldn't smoke in the rent-a-car. And so I went to the gas station, the cig-a-lights they always have on all the gas station counters. And I saw these cig-a-lights and I was like, oh, great. We won't have to stop every hour or 2 hours, because that's another trigger. Being in a car, you want to smoke. I smoked in my own car, at least for me, because I smoked in my own car. Whenever I'd be driving, I'd always have a cigarette in my hand. So being in a car and not being able to smoke, because we didn't want to pay that fine. I went into the gas station, bought a couple cig-a-lights for me and my boyfriend, and we made the trip there with the cig-a-lights. Didn't have to smoke cigarettes in the car. Got to where we were going though, and I put the cig-a-light in the bottom of my purse, pulled out my pack of cigarettes, and smoked my cigarettes. Once we were where we were going, I only used the cig-a-light for a substitute for the nicotine. No real, not thinking this is going to help me quit smoking. I wasn't looking to quit smoking at that time. And same thing on the way back home, I used the cig-a-light, but when we got home, I continued using the cig-a-light that night in the house, which kind of sparked something, made me think, wow, this is really a lot like a cigarette, but, there's no ashes, I can vape in bed. At that time it was like, I can use my cig-a-light in bed and not worry about ashes or an ashtray or anything. And I kind of put it to the back of my head for a while after that, and was still using the cig-a-light, but as a dual user, like using the cig-a-light in places where I couldn't smoke, or when I didn't want to smell like cigarette smoke. Like if I'm going to a parent-teacher conference, I don't want to walk into school smelling like a cigarette, so I'd take my cig-a-light with me. And without even realizing it, vaping started helping me. Of course, with cig-a-lights, the frustration is the batteries, those little batteries. They go, they drain, they go dead, they don't work anymore. So then it was the next step of what else is there? And at that point, it's 2015. Vaping is just starting, in my opinion, was when it was like really starting to reach people that, in places where at this point vaping was not even known of. So I walked into my first vape shop and I got a little Ego Twist battery, and I think it was like a CE4 cartridge tank clearomizer is what they called them, and took that home. They made me leave my pack of cigarettes at the shop, so I owe a lot to that shop owner because he made me leave my pack of cigarettes there. I got like a discount if I left my pack of cigarettes. And then I wanted to know everything. I
think a lot of us go through that same thing, because as soon as I found out, like literally, I was like, wow, this is like a cigarette, man, but it's not going to kill me. I wanted to know everything that there was. I mean, I was on YouTube, and I think that's what got me onto YouTube in the first place, because I looked up vaping. That was like the first thing I ever really looked up on YouTube was vaping. And then next thing you know, there was like this guy, Rip Trippers, and Twisted 420, and Grim Grim and Phil, and I think Raven was out when I first started. I think Raven was doing channel. He still had his channel, and that was it. But it was like, oh my God, look at this device that he's using. What is this big old thing? I want one of those. And then it just sparked the. Yeah. I was buying crap that was worthless. It was like, this stuff is worthless. It don't even work. Mm-hmm. Now, vaping not only saves us from smoke-related stuff, we know cancer and all the other stuff like that, but it also changes lives in other aspects. How has vaping changed you as a person?
Oh, well, it strange to say, it changed a lot. A lot of things I didn't think, that just simply quitting smoking and going to vaping. Not only did it change like how I looked at my health, but because I had made one improvement to my health, it made me go, well, what other improvements can I make to my health? So I started eating cleaner. I started drinking more water, because with vaping came, the feeling of being dehydrated, and realized I needed to drink more water, more fluid intake. So I started drinking more water. I could breathe again. So I started exercising. Well, through just walking and exercising, I started bringing new people into my friend circle that otherwise I wouldn't made friends with, because they would have never been friends with a smoker. So, and that's one of those things too, with smoking, you're an outcast. and pretty much the people you're around are going to be other smokers, because non-smokers don't like smokers because of the smell or, you know, whatever reasons. So, and then of course, YouTube, like you, as soon as I got a device, I walked into that vape shop, and there were a ton of devices to choose from, and it was expensive. So I chose one of the low end, lesser cost devices, still not sure that this was going to be, you know, I didn't want to get something that was a cost of a carton of cigarettes and then not use it. But I went home and I got on YouTube, like you said, with Rip Trippers, Indoor Smokers, Twisted, Grim Green, so many reviewers out there. At that time, Mike Vapes and Mark Fagan, and all of them were on YouTube. So I had all this information from me. I wanted bigger, better devices. So then I started going to online stores and buying. But through YouTube, I met a community of people that also were vapers and had all their stories to tell. And listening to their stories, because at that point, you know, I just started vaping. I still was, you know, unsure of everything about it. I gained a lot of knowledge, and I gained a lot of new friends. And, you know, so not only did it enrich my health, but it enriched, you know, my life, and that I've met a lot of great people. I've met you. I've, you know, not in person yet, but I've met you. I've been a follower of yours for a long time, and I've watched your videos. So it impacted my life a lot in that regard, and kind of a full circle thing.
Well, I thank you so much for watching my videos. And everybody out there, Kimmy has a wonderful channel. If you guys haven't checked her out, it's Kimmy Vapes on YouTube. Go check her channel out. It's wonderful. She does some great reviews. So if you want to learn anything, definitely go check her out.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. But I think that that's one of the things that a lot of people don't understand, the friends that you get. Like I have friends now that I would have, like you said, you would have never been friends with ever if you didn't become vaping. The community is such a tight community, and that's some place that you can always go to for help. I mean, you go on Instagram and there's so many people on Instagram, and if you ask a question, you're gonna have thousands of people trying to help you. And that's probably one of the greatest things. The friends that I've met, and like friends that I never would have had if it wasn't for vaping. I mean, me and you would have never met if it wasn't for vaping. And you know, a lot of people don't know this. Kimmy was one of my first followers on Instagram. I still have it. I took a screenshot. Her and Kimmy Vapes was the two first people that followed me on Instagram years ago, and that was amazing because they were already in Instagram a little bit, and they were doing a lot better than I was. They're still doing a lot better than I am on Instagram. But you guys were my two first followers. And it made me ecstatic. Like, look at these beautiful women that are following me there. I'm nobody. I'm some nobody guy, and they followed me. So there's definitely a very, very tight community. Now, smoking is never an easy addiction to overcome. But as you know, vaping can make the transition a whole lot easier to do. I mean, we both know that. What would you say was the hardest thing for you to overcome when you were switching from smoking to vaping?
The triggers, like we were talking about earlier, going out for drinks. You know, alcohol can be a trigger for wanting a cigarette because the two become so related that it's not just physical, it becomes mental. Another one for me is I'm a coffee drinker. So every morning when that coffee hits my tongue, I wanted a cigarette. I craved a cigarette. And for a while I had to give up coffee. And that was horrible, but it was the only way for me to continue with vaping, because, you know, when you have those cravings, sometimes you really do have to make, you know, changes so as that you can continue with the path that you want to continue. And then after a meal, and you know, and something someone told me a long time ago, and this, you know, the community is so wonderful that, you know, there's so much advice and knowledge out there that people give willingly to help. I mean, if you go through one of them smoking cessation pamphlets, you don't get that from trying to quit cold turkey. There isn't a group of people out there rallied around you giving you tips like there is in the vaping community. And somebody told me, if the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning is light a cigarette, then keep your vape beside the bed. And first thing you do in the morning is hit your vape. If you go outside to smoke a cigarette, go outside to vape. Do the same habit, and that will get, it basically, in a sense, I mean, it takes one habit and replaces it with another. That is that's a true thing to me. In my opinion, you're replacing one habit with another. The difference, though, is you're replacing the habit with something that's not going to kill you, and we all have habits. I mean, if you like video games, you have a video gaming habit. Not all habits are bad. So for me, it was, my coffee in the morning after a meal. If I went out to socialize and had drinks, those are really big triggers for me. And I learned how to use vaping to, stay cigarette free and enjoy my vape, because I love I enjoy nicotine. I still, even after almost 3 years, I vape nicotine, but I only vape 3 milligram nicotine. And I'm okay with me being addicted with nicotine. And I think that's another thing. As a smoker, my previous attempts to quit, because I had tried cold turkey and all of that stuff, I was trying to quit nicotine. And it wasn't until vaping that I learned that nicotine is not the enemy, it's the combustible tobacco. And so once I was okay that it's okay if I like nicotine, it's okay if nicotine is a stress reliever. That was another trigger. Go to work and you get used to getting those little smoke breaks. Well, you're no longer a smoker, so you don't get a smoke break, right? And then you go into panic mode of, how am I going to decompress at work? Well, vaping can still be that for you. It can still allow you to decompress and have that couple minutes, step outside and, hit your vape.
I was one of those people that as soon as I woke up in the morning, I would light a cigarette. Before I even got out of bed, I would light a cigarette. I'd be laying in bed. Before I got up to go to the bathroom or anything, first thing I did was light a cigarette. And that was one of the things that helped me, because I put my vape right there. So as soon as I woke up, first thing and I still do it today. I've been vaping for 5 years now. And the very first thing that I do is I grab my vape in the morning. That's probably one of the biggest factions. People, and that's something on my old channel, on this channel, that I want to teach people is keep the routine the same. I was a smoker. I was one of the people that I thought I was going to die advocating for tobacco. Like, really, I was like, I love smoking. I'm a smoker. I can't smoke in this store. Screw you. I hate this store. I won't shop at this store no more. That's just how I was. And when I found out about vaping, I was like, oh, wait, I can smoke without smoking? Is that what you're telling me? That's what this is going to do for me? Oh, yeah, this is the greatest thing in the world. And that's what I promote to everybody all the time, because there's a lot of people out there that just like smoking. And I was one of those people. I like to smoke. This is stress relief. It didn't have nothing to do with nicotine. It gave me something to do with my hands. I'm one of the people, I talk with my hands and everything, but it gave me something to do with my hand. I was constantly doing this. Now I'm constantly doing this. So keep your routines the same. That's a very good point that you pointed out. Keep your routines the same. I know there's nothing perfect about any industry, any person, any product or anything. Is there any problems you see with vaping or anything that you wish you could change about vaping?
Oh, yeah, of course. Like you said, with any industry, with anything, there's always something, obviously I don't like the way that in the United States that vaping is being portrayed. Is like this douchebag clouds grow clouds thing that's targeted at young people. Vaping is looked at more in a purely scientific approach and a purely harm reduction approach, because that's what it is. I mean, if you're a smoker, you're harming yourself, and switching to vaping, we've had enough studies done to know that vaping is 98% safer, according to the Royal College of Physicians. Now, does that mean it's 100% safe? No, but it's harm reduction. And I would love to see the approach taken towards vaping as this is a harm reduction tool. And for the media and for our governments and for politicians to see it as harm reduction tool and to embrace it as that. The other thing that irks me is companies that I feel like companies should be held responsible for their branding, for the way that they sell and present, and two things in the company aspect is safety and, of course, branding, responsible branding, making sure that labels have warnings on them, making sure that labels are not child appealing, to represent us as vapers, and be able to appeal to the large age group, which is from 18 in some states all the way up to 80. I mean, I've met people that are in their 80s and 90s that just, learned about vaping and quit smoking in their 80s. And they're not going to be too enthused about vaping on a product that looks like, some big flashy thing. They're usually the ones that want something smaller, sleek, low key, and they don't want a juice bottle with cartoons all over it. So I would like to see, more responsible branding and marketing from companies, and safety. I would like to see that there is a unanimous decision for all companies to follow as far as safety of the devices. And that goes on not just the manufacturers, but also the sellers. More information out there for safety. So many people walk into vape shops and they're handed a device and they have no idea what the device, like how unsafe the device can be if you don't know what you're doing. So those are probably my pet peeves for me and things that I would like to see changed in the vaping industry.
I completely agree with you when it comes to the product safety and the juice coverings and, some of that stuff. When I see Captain Crunch on the thing, I'm not thinking about, the juice tasting like Captain Crunch. I'm looking at this bottle like, why does it have Captain Crunch on here? Ain't this a lawsuit right here? Why would you put Captain Crunch on your thing? As a business person, as somebody that looks at it as a business on the business side of vaping, it makes it really hard. And then plus with products, it's very hard to pick up products and want to carry products when you are looking at things that potentially could be unsafe. I don't understand. I talk to a lot of vapers. I've been vaping for a very long time. There's no reason to have a device that pumps out 500 watts. Nobody's vaping that high. Why are you making them? It just doesn't make no sense. Everybody, the average vapor is vaping in between 30 to 120 watts. You don't need 500 watt devices. I just don't get it. Like, nobody is vaping that high. Nobody. And if there is, they can make their own device to do that, and then they can deal with the consequences of using something that can go that high. I just think it's a little bit ridiculous to have a device to go to 500 watts. Even 300 watts, that's extreme. I hit a 300 watt device, the RX 300 at 300 watts. That was not pleasurable. I did it on my own channel, and
yeah, no thank you.
That was not pleasurable. It hurt. It was hot. It was very, very hot. Vaping has saved millions of lives over the world. We all know that. I mean, every day, millions and millions of more people are being introduced to vaping. But there are still people that are struggling with smoking. I mean, a lot of people they haven't decided to make the switch, or they're not doing anything. And I don't just advocate for vaping. I advocate for people to stop smoking any way possible. In my book, I wrote, stuff about, using the toothpick method and the straw method, because some people they're just not into vaping. They want to quit. But if they were thinking about using vaping to quit smoking, is there one thing that you could tell them, one good piece of advice that you would give them that would help them out if they were thinking about making that change?
Don't write it off. I mean, if the first device doesn't work for you, try another device. If you have vape shops in your area, try to communicate with the vape shops, the employees. Don't be afraid to ask questions. I went into my first vape shop, I was scared. I was intimidated by all of the stuff that was in there and had no idea where to start with questions. So go in, talk to a vape shop owner, talk to employees, ask them, can I try several devices? Do you have some setups that, you could bring out and let me try them? Try before you buy, if at all possible. And like you said earlier, don't change your habits. If you get up first thing in the morning and you light a cigarette, do the same with vaping. If you don't smoke in the house, you smoke outside, go outside and vape, because doing that same repetition will help you, because you're still getting the nicotine. And remember that you're not giving up nicotine. You're just giving up all the other harmful crap that you're putting in your body. So enjoy that nicotine. Go out, spend 15 minutes just quiet, have your mind be quiet, like when you smoke a cigarette, and just vape. And let that guide you and not the notion of, do I look like an idiot with this metal penis sticking out of my mouth? You know, don't let the anti-vaping people, don't let people that shun vaping and, you know, make you feel like vaping isn't going to work for you. Give it a good try, and don't get discouraged if you're a dual user or if you relapse and have a cigarette. Don't think that that's the end of your journey with vaping.
That is excellent right there. A lot of people think that, you know, and I've seen people go back to smoking because they failed a little bit and they smoked a cigarette and they're like, oh, I got to be a smoker now. You can use both of them. You can do whatever you need to do to help you get to the end goal, which is not being a smoker no more. And a lot of people don't realize that. And, you know, something that I would like to give to the entire vape community, if you see somebody that used to vape, or they used to smoke and they started vaping and then they went back to cigarettes, and you see them, don't beat them up. You know, really don't do that. Go and, you know, encourage them. Hey, man, get back on the vape, man. You know that's bad for you. You know, encourage them. Be supportive. Don't, you know, ostracize them and just shove them to the side, because we've all been there. We've all had struggles. Well, before we end the show, why don't you tell everybody, just give yourself a plug and tell everybody, you know, where they can find you at, and any type of information that you would like them to have. I will put a link to the description to everything that Kimmy tells you guys. I'll give you the mic and you just go ahead and let everybody know where they can find you.
Okay. I'm not too good at promoting myself. Let's see. I'm on Instagram as Kimmy_Vapes. I post a lot of things there. Anything from, you might see pictures of my dogs and cats. Not too often because my page is vape related, and then mostly I post new vape gear that I get, my thoughts on the gear, and also just random cloud pics and things. And I love being social with people, so feel free to come over and follow me on Instagram. You can also find my vape page on Facebook as Kimmy Vapes on Facebook. And then also on YouTube, I am Kimmy Vapes on YouTube. I do YouTube reviews, vlogs. I'm hoping to get into doing some more tutorials. I'd like to start doing some building tutorials because I know there's a lot of female vapers out there. They might be intimidated by building. Not saying that females are intimidated by building, because I know a ton of really awesome builders that are females, but I might start doing that on my channel. So definitely go check out my YouTube channel. I do giveaways and reviews and things like that. And always always feel free to reach out to me, send me a message. I love hearing from people. And I'm always, eager to answer questions. If you're looking to start vaping and quit smoking, I'm more than happy to help recommend some products for you and anything like that. And that's pretty much where I am on the interwebs all the time.
That is amazing. I'm so happy that, I was able to have you on the show today, and maybe I can persuade you to join me again in the future.
Yeah, I'd love it. Thank you so much for having me on, Kyle. I really enjoyed it, and I think it's a great thing that you're doing on your channel. I think it's great to always be thinking about the smokers, and not just the current vapers and people that are already vaping, but people out there that are thinking about vaping or maybe you're struggling with smoke. So thank you for doing what you do.
Oh, well, she's going to make me blush over. I'm going to turn all red. All right, guys, so we're going to wrap this up, and we will see you on the next one. Thank you for viewing. It means the world to me. And if you haven't had a chance to subscribe to the channel yet, go ahead and do it now. And remember, vaping saved your life, so help vaping save more lives. Spread the word and keep on vaping.